Hi, Annie. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Very well. I'm so glad you could join me today.
I'm so glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Well, I want to talk to you specifically about Brainy Boss, which is your business.
Yep.
Not only is it a business, though, it's also kind of a multimedia company now, a little bit.
Yes. Yeah. It started primarily as a podcast with the idea of reaching out to other micropreneurs who are in search of a community, who are feeling isolated, who need some additional help. And when I say micropreneur, that's a pretty specific group. It's someone that runs a business that they do most of the work in the business, but maybe they have a small team that's about 5 or under. And so they're working really closely in their business all the time. And that's the target for the Brainy Boss podcast and the Brainy Boss community.
I'm glad you made that distinction because, you hear all these different terms, solopreneur, and it's confusing even for me, even if I can get out entrepreneur without stuttering over the word.
I know. I will say, honestly, I have a little angst about a new word like micropreneur, but it just identifies that subset so well, because a solopreneur, someone works by themselves.
Yeah.
But an entrepreneur is so broad. And I really wanted to focus on those groups of people that have really small teams, because their needs are really different than people that have big teams or multiple departments or anything like that. So I really wanted to focus on that group.
And what do you think are in focusing on that, what are some of the issues that a micropreneur faces?
I think probably a couple top ones are, one, isolation. You're working all the time, and so you are isolated and maybe not reaching out to other people. And in that isolation is that if you're in charge of the business, then everyone by definition is under you. Even if they're part of your team, you're employing them. So sometimes you don't feel like you have a good peer that you can talk to about your business in a different sort of way. So isolation is one. And then the other one is, I have found that a lot of people that have businesses like that can be controlling or control freaks or control enthusiasts, if you want to put a positive spin on it, and have trouble letting go of things and getting the right kind of help. And so the idea of Brainy Boss is, one, a community where you can reach out to other people who understand the issues that you're going through, the struggles that you're going through, and then also to provide tools to help people that maybe don't need a full-time person or don't need a permanent person, but need a little extra help so that they can reclaim some of their time.
That's a really good, I'm going to use the word niche, but or actually maybe the better term would be is that it's a specific talent set.
Yes.
And so I imagine, because myself, having worked for different companies and also being a solopreneur and sometimes a micropreneur, depending on the project, that, I think people take for granted that it's just going to be easy to tell other people what to do in their business or to run a team. And most people don't even have that experience.
Right. And I'm really glad you said sometimes you're a solopreneur or a micropreneur, depending on the project. That is part of it too, is that you're not always running a full team. You're sometimes running more or less depending on what you want to do. And it really is a very specific skill set to bring somebody in temporarily or part-time to something that is so intimate in a small, very focused way.
Now, in your own experience, what have you had? Because you've come from a very varied background. You started off working for your dad in a steel plant to being involved in massage to, tell me a little bit about this. This is crazy.
I know my path is a meandering, weird path, yet it's brought me, all of these things have brought me together to this place. So I feel like it was all valuable in hindsight. It just took me a long time to figure out where I was going. But I grew up surrounded by my dad's business. So I only knew entrepreneurship growing up. That's the only thing I knew. And I didn't think of it that way because I didn't know any different.
Yeah.
And then I went out in the world and I tried to get jobs, and I found that I'm a very bad employee.
Amen to that.
I just did. And, I say this to a lot of people. The first few jobs I had, it was always the boss. The boss was the problem. Well, no, it was me. right? I was not a good employee. And so that really opened up my awareness to that I needed to be my own boss, and that I knew that I was going to be a business owner. So I played with a lot of different things, and I in my 20s and 30s, I just had a little bit more of a gypsy spirit. So playing with a lot of things just meant I went places and said yes to whatever. And so I just had this very varied career. I was a chef for a while because I thought that would be cool. But I didn't want to work in a restaurant. And so I ended up becoming involved in a construction company from my previous marriage. I married into a construction company. I took over the bookkeeping, and that was sort of my first taste of really managing a small business. It was a bigger business than a micropreneur. There was maybe 40 employees, but it was my first introduction to running my own thing and knowing that this is what I want to do. So during that time, I actually ended up going to massage school because I also have an interest in health. This doesn't seem connected, so I'm trying to, how do I connect it? But stick with me here. And so I went to massage school and opened my own practice. And that was the gateway to me being totally by myself, not somebody else's business that I married into, not anything else. So I started my massage practice, and that really made me realize I love teaching. And so I opened a massage school. I'm skipping a lot of steps in here, but I'm just going to say I opened a massage school. And so as part of the massage school, what ended up happening is that I started helping a ton of my graduates start their own small business. And I became this small business consultant on the side. And then that branched out to other people who weren't my graduates, heard that I could help them with small business and stuff. And so I've done it for years. And in that, while running my own business, I felt that no one got me, that I was trying to do this thing that a lot of people didn't understand. And I wanted to reach out to people who were doing something similar. I worked all the time. I had no time to do anything else. So I didn't know how to fix that. So I learned how to fix it. I learned how to manage my time. I learned a lot of stuff the hard way. And so that led me to creating Brainy Boss and knowing that there's other people out there and there are easier ways to learn things than the way I did. So that was a meandering story. I'm sorry it took so long.
No, not at all. It makes complete sense. But now I have a couple questions around it.
Sure, go for it.
Okay. So when you say that, you knew that it wasn't working, was there a specific accident or something that was just that happened that you knew you had to change, or was it just kind of a slow realization?
Both. So, I ended up getting Meniere's disease, and I don't know if you know what Meniere's disease is, but no. Okay, it's an inner ear disease that it basically the demographic for it is So I got Meniere's disease, which is a horrible vertigo. Okay, and I was trying to solve the problem, and I was going to medical doctors and everything, but I ended up going to an acupuncturist, and the acupuncturist said to me, in traditional Chinese medicine, Meniere's hits the demographic that can't say no. Yes. That does everything, that can't. And so when I started realizing this was affecting my health and I wasn't doing enough to take care of myself, I realized I needed to make more time. So that was the big scare for me, the health scare, that I can't run my business just by working all the time, because if I don't have my body, what am I going to do? That was the first step. And then the second step was just that I had no life. I had nothing. I was, my partner, he said, just you're married to the school. I never see you. You don't do anything. And I wanted to spend time with him, and I wanted to have my health. And so I just realized that it's not all about working all the time and work and just work. And so I had to make some big changes really quickly, and that got me on track to saying, I need to hire people. I need more help. I need to automate some stuff. I need to have better systems. And I learned how to do it all. So, yeah. I feel like my answers are really long, but there's a lot that went into this, right?
No, well, and I don't think that they're long. If anything, we could talk about this probably for 3 days, because part of all this online and these businesses, that they're part of our lives. Everything is meshed together. So it's not so easy to just say, it wasn't working for me. I started another business. Well, I'm sure there was a million things that made that happen.
Oh,
I want to know that.
Sure. For sure. And I think I say all the time, I don't believe in work-life balance. I just think it's all one life. And in that we have to do some work that hopefully we love, and we have to spend time with people that we love, and we do all this stuff. And so it's just one life, and we want every piece of it to be the best it can be. And we can't do that if we're not healthy. Right. We can't do that if we don't have time to be present, because our to-do list is running in the back of our head and we're unorganized and we don't know what we've forgotten. So it's really about being present and loving everything you're doing, even if what you're doing that moment is taxes, that you love it because you understand that it's part of the big picture.
So in going through this journey, in relation to that, has your idea of like what success is, has that changed over time?
Totally.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm definitely driven. I'm just going to say I'm driven by making money, for sure. Who isn't? I mean, I think we all want to make money and pay bills and be comfortable. But I really have added time. Success to me is now how much time I have to choose what I want to do. Now, I will say I love my job. So that's a choice that I love spending time at work, and I don't mind being at work.
Right.
But I also really want downtime, and I want downtime where I can just spend the weekend how I want to, with whoever I want to and whatever I want to be doing. Maybe that's, I always say if I don't have to put on pants, it's a good weekend, right?
Yeah.
So I want that option. And I want, when my husband and I do stuff, I want to really be present in that moment and not thinking about what I need to be doing at work. So that's success for me now. What is my downtime, and what does that look like? Is it as rich and as deep as I want it to be? Because I say this, time management is what Brainy Boss is about. And I say you can't extend the length of time, but you can change the depth of it. So you can make every moment deeper and richer and more fulfilling if you're managing the whole thing better.
That's I like that. Because the one thing that we don't ever get back is time.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep. They can't. It's a non-renewable resource. Another thing that I talk about is, if you leave $20 on the table and somebody steals it from you, you're going to be mad. But if somebody takes 20 minutes from us, we just don't really think about it as much, and you can earn that $20 back. But if your time is wasted, it's forever wasted. Right.
Yikes. So now that makes me think of like all the things. All the time I'm giving to the wrong people.
Oh, I know. And I always think time management with a vengeance. Like, manage your time in a way that you understand every minute is this precious, precious thing. So
I really want to emphasize this because I know for myself, it's something that I definitely struggle with. And I know that I can use time as a form of procrastination, in that I give it, when I give it to other people and put their projects or their anything about them like ahead of mine, then I'm just like taking away from my prosperity.
Right.
So what I love about your podcast is that you go into this and you talk to micropreneurs about time and organizing and efficiency. So what are like the biggest things that you have found, like in this time that you've been doing your podcast, that you've learned or you've put into practice that's like a good, I don't know, like do you have a top tip for time management?
I think one of the top tips is based on what you just said, and it's what to say no to. Is usually it's not about what we say yes to, it's about what we say no to. And you really almost have to say no to hundreds and hundreds of things. And say yes to the things that really speak to you. Somebody said this on a podcast once, and I loved it. And there's the swearing version, which I use in my head. I don't know if I can swear on your show, but I won't. But if it's not a heck yes, it has to be a heck no.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
So I really look at stuff, and if I go, okay, then it's a no. I need to be just like completely convinced that I want to do it. So I think time management, first of all, is deciding what you want to do. And if it doesn't fit that, it's a hard no. it's a hard no. If you're trying to build something and someone else's project comes in, like you're talking about someone else's project comes in and it doesn't feed what you're building, then it needs to be a hard no, unless there's another reason, right? Like a friend is sick and needs help. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about stuff that just is a way to procrastinate. It's called, they're called noble procrastinations, where you go, well, I didn't have time to do that because I was helping a friend. And that's what they're called, is noble procrastinations. You have this big noble reason for not doing it, but it still really takes away from what you're doing. So I think you have to have a hard definition of what you want and have everything filter through that. Does it serve that? If it doesn't, then you can't do it. So that's sort of the more meta way to look at things. And then on a hard thing, I think my episode 1 is probably the best, about having one calendar, not 7, not Post-it notes, different places, one calendar where everything funnels, and then one system to manage that calendar.
And do you recommend that that's digital or handwritten?
I don't necessarily recommend digital or paper. I recommend what works for you. I'm a person that's a hybrid. I like to write some stuff on paper, but I always transfer it to digital so that I get the reminders in my email and the notifications. But there are people that really like paper. Mm-hmm. Fine, but pick one. If you have one calendar, pick that. If, for example, if you have a paper calendar, then pick that paper calendar so it's with you all the time, instead of writing stuff on one calendar that maybe you keep in your purse and then transfer into another calendar. No, one calendar. And then one system that manages stuff. So, and I focus on this a lot with parallel entrepreneurs, people that have more than one business. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we categorize things like, this is this business and this is this business, but I know a lot of people accidentally overlap. And they go, oh, shoot, I was supposed to meet with this person this day, but I forgot I was meeting a person over here. Yeah. So one system that manages everything and one calendar that manages everything is my strong recommendation for that. And then time blocking, blocking out time, saying, this is what I'm going to do this day.
So, okay, when you're talking about time blocking, and I want to make a big point of this because I don't know that everybody understands the best use of time blocking. So do you separate it out for both your personal and professional part?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So can you kind of run us maybe through a day where you would time block?
Sure. So time blocking for me is, everybody does it a little bit different, but I'll tell you how I look at it. Time block means that every amount of time is blocked out. And maybe it's blocked out where it's personal. Okay. But you block out everything. So for example, Sundays are blocked out for me completely to do anything. So it's personal, and it says, and I call it a no-go day. So nothing happens on Sundays for me, which means that when I go to schedule something else, that space is already taken up on my calendar, and it reminds me, no, Sunday is your day off. And then I can use Sunday the way I want. Maybe that's my day to binge watch Netflix. Who cares? Maybe it's my day to go on a hike. Maybe it's my day to do something else. But I don't allow anything else to creep into it. And the way to do that is to block it out, because then on the calendar, it's physically already blocked out. Then during the week, I have times that I'm absolutely going to work on my podcast. I'm absolutely going to work on my massage school. I'm absolutely going to do that. And I don't let things creep in. So if somebody says to me, hey, can you do this on Friday? But that time is blocked out for working on my business, which I always distinguish different than in your business. Then I have to say no, because I've blocked it out. Okay. So that's what I mean by time blocking.
Now, do you think that system makes it easier to say no?
Yes.
Okay. Because, one of the things that comes up, especially when talking to other women about this, is the guilt around saying no, even if it feels like a heck no.
Exactly. And I think that even the guilt really gets in there. So what happens is, even though people block the time out, if they block the time out to say, I'm going to do nothing on Sunday, there's a guilt that says, well, I'm not really doing anything, so I guess I could help that person. Yeah. But learning to say, I I'm busy, because that's true. You are busy, and maybe you're busy with taking time to yourself, which you really need. You really need to do that. So the guilt is something we need to let go of. And yes, I agree with you. It's something people really struggle with, but I feel that blocking the time out, then you also don't feel like you're lying. You've truly blocked the time out on your calendar, and you're truly like, that's what I'm doing that day. And you can say, I'm sorry, I already have plans. Your plans might be washing your hair.
Yeah.
But those are your plans. And why is time for you any less important than the dentist? If you have a dental appointment and people say, can you help me move Friday morning? You say, no, I'm sorry, I'm going to the dentist.
Right.
Why couldn't you just as importantly say, I'm sorry, I'm busy that day? And it could be for you. This could get into a different subject where if you have friends that you can't say to them, I'm busy being at home on my couch, then you don't need those people, right? That's a whole different topic.
Right,
but
right.
I feel like you want to surround yourself with people where you don't have to make up a story. You can say, I don't do anything on Sundays. That's my day. I'm so sorry. And they go, I totally get it.
Well, I was looking through your social media, and I came across one of your quotes, and it says, surround yourself with people who match your ambition, drive, and dedication.
There you go.
Yeah. I like that.
I mean, it's that simple, right?
Yes. Yeah. You need to be supported.
You need to be supportive. And I have friends that understand when I work hard. And I know you're in that same boat. I work my butt off. So when I have downtime, I need it. Yeah. And I need to protect it. And I need people around me who get it, who get that. So. And
do you think that that's formed, or that realization you're aware of because of your background in massage, but also the health issues that you've gone through?
Probably. Massage certainly helped, because massage is, there's a lot of, massage is a career that's, you don't make more money from going faster. Right. It's better to go slower. If someone needs an hour massage, they actually want it to take an hour. They don't want it to take half an hour. It's a weird career, because most careers are rewarded by doing more in less time. So massage has certainly helped me with that. But my health is really probably my driving force, because I know it's an issue. And then I ended up getting my master's in human nutrition and functional medicine because of my interest in health and wellness and how essential it is, and because I did ignore it for a long time. So most of my no's and my boundaries are really based on my health.
And do you find that being able to say no and be at this point in your life, is it making your businesses better?
Yes. I can't even yes, if I could get up and do a dance for that, I would. And what a mind-blowing realization, right?
Yes, because in the beginning, that does not make sense.
It does not make sense. But wait, I can work less, take care of myself, do more things smarter, and my business can be better than when I was working my butt off all the time, thinking that it's just about putting the work in. That for me was a total epiphany, and that's what I want to share with people. I'm like, working smarter, not harder, and you can have more downtime, and your business can flourish more than when you're just hitting it all the time, thinking that it's all about the work. And I've been there.
Yeah.
Totally get it. My business is the best it's ever been because I'm the best I've ever been. Right? And Micropreneurs, we're our business.
It's mind blowing. Because again, it goes simple. Across. Yeah.
Isn't it the simplest concept, really?
Yeah.
But
when you say it, I'm like, yeah. And then sometimes I have to lean back and be like, but am I doing that?
Right. And I check myself all the time. I definitely have a propensity to work. I will work. When left to my own devices, I'll choose to work, which is a great problem to have because I love my job so much.
Yeah.
But I am very good at deciding that the best thing is not to work. And I work hard and I play hard. So
what do you do in your off time?
That's so funny because I knew you were going to ask me that, and I don't. It's funny because I have a pretty unlimited amount of downtime by choice. I like everything I'm doing right now, but I really like to read and be very quiet. I'm an introvert by nature. I play an extrovert at my job, and so my refueling is reading or just having some down. My husband and I we'll go for big long walks, or we'll go for hikes, or we'll go away for the weekend. So he works like crazy too. And so we both, when our downtimes are like pajama, books, that's it. I don't do a lot of active stuff in my downtime, to be honest. So.
Well, that sounds pretty nice to me.
Yeah. A lot of people talk about they go on vacations and they go somewhere and we went scuba diving and we went here, we went on this tour and we are the opposite. Nothing planned. We need, 10 days of nothing planned. And that's learned for me too, but I really enjoy it. So my downtime's fairly boring. I read some books and I don't do much.
I like it.
Yeah.
And you live in a beautiful area, which is like, I wouldn't mind not doing much in either. You're in rural Washington, right?
Yeah. It's in the middle, apple capital of the world. And it's a beautiful snowy day today, but it's just like, this would be a beautiful day to sip some tea and look out. I'm looking out the window right now and it's just beautiful. And so, it's a nice place to be.
Wonderful. Yeah. How can people find you online?
Well, I am at brainyboss.co. That's my website. And then the podcast is available iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, kind of wherever you want. It's also right on my website, so you can listen to it there. And on Instagram, I'm at @BrainyBoss. And on Twitter, I'm at @BrainyBoss. So I would love to see you there.
That is great. And I want to make a point. You have a community within Facebook and also through your website, correct? That
yes,
micropreneurs can,
Yeah, people can put their email address in and subscribe to that. Totally free. I'm just building a community of like-minded micropreneurs who are looking for a little connection. And so that would be great. And you can join right there on the website.
And if they can't get enough of you and they need to work with you because you need to help them with their businesses, how should they get in touch with you?
That's on the website too. I do consulting. I do one-on-one consulting. I also actually answer my emails. Like, you can email me and ask me a question and I will answer. But if you need more time, if you need something more specific, I do consulting. And there is a tab on my website that says work with me, and you can click there and schedule a time. It's right there, and pick a time and we'll hook up.
Annie, I appreciate you so much. And thank you for blocking off this time for me.
It was great. I was so looking forward to it. So thank you for having me.